Hello and welcome to my channel where we talk about books because I love books. Today we are going to go over the 59 books I read in 2025 as somebody that works full-time and somehow managed to surpass my reading goal. I'm so proud, whether I read 55 or 59 or 2, but it felt so good to surpass my reading goal, and I'm going to tell you. Thank you, cat. I'm going to tell you what books I read and tell you whether I recommend them with a yes, no, or maybe. Without further ado, let's get into it. I will be referencing my Handy Danny Fable app because without that, I wouldn't know what I read a year ago. The first book I read in 2025 was Pretty Monster by Sheridan Ann. I am gonna say yes to this if you like stalker romance. Then I read Broken Fae by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. This is in the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac series, and yes to this entire series, but yes, I am obsessed. If you can hear a weird noise, it's my cat playing with his toy. Then I had major FOMO because Onyx Storm was coming out and I hadn't read any of the Fourth Wing series, so I binge read all of them. Fourth Wing, I don't have it with me. I gave it to my mom to borrow, but it is a yes for sure. Then I read Iron Flame and also yes. Onyx Storm, all of these by Rebecca Yarros. I forgot to say that. This is a heck yes for sure. I had a great time reading it, and I hate that the next book doesn't even have a release date yet. Then I read Warrior Fae by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti, the fifth and final book in the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac series. That one's a heck yes. I cried so much, but it was great. I loved it. I loved it. Then I started my Boys of Tommen journey with Binding 13. This is obviously a yes. It is beautiful and devastating, and you need to read it. Then I read Now You're Mine by Morgan Bridges. It is the second book in the, I forget what the name of the series is called. This one's a maybe. It's a stalker romance, so maybe if you like stalker romances, it just kind of fell flat for me. Then I read Alive and Wells by Bailey Hannah. This one, 5 stars. Yes, absolutely, you need to read this. Next was The Third Ring by A. Ann Horton. I really liked it, so I'm gonna say yes. Then I read You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. This is a personal development book, so yes, if you like personal development books, it is funny and written in such a fun way. So if you haven't read personal development books, then I think this one would be a great place to start. Then I read Spirit Junkie by Gabrielle Bernstein, and this is a yes. Next, I read Shadow Princess, which is also by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. It is number 4 in the Zodiac Academy series, and yes, obviously you need to read this whole series. It's so good. Why haven't you read it yet? Then I read this little novella. It is Origins of an Academy Bully. It is number 0.5 in the Zodiac Academy series, also by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. This one is a yes. It gave so much backstory into Darius and Lance, and I loved it so much. Then I read The Elf Witch by Jacqueline Gilmore. This one was a no for me, honestly. I just didn't really vibe with it. Then I read A Kingdom of Curses by Danielle Drummond. This one is a maybe. The first part for me was it was a lot reminiscent of Crescent City for me, so I had a hard time starting it, but it got better towards the end, so maybe. Then I read Empire of Night by Kelly Armstrong. This is the second book in the, again, I don't know the name of the series, but it's the second book in a YA fantasy series. I'm gonna say a yes. Then I read Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, second book in the Boys of Tommen series. This one is an absolute yes. It is a god tier book for me now, 6 stars. I was sobbing for like 30 pages straight. If you enjoy emotional devastation, then yes, you need to read this. Anyway, you need to read this. Then I read The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. This is a maybe. It's kind of like a mix of novel and self-help book, I want to say, so maybe. Next up was Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings. These ones were both yeses for me. Then I read The Hunted Heir by Holly Renee. This is the second book in the Veiled Kingdom series. It was a maybe for me. It felt like a lot of nothing. It didn't need to be a whole book. You know what I mean? Then I read Manacled by Senlin Yu, not Alchemized. I read Manacled, and this was a yes for me. It was a little hard to get into in the beginning, but then I really liked it. After that, I started the first book by Emily Henry I have ever read, People Who Meet on Vacation. This one was a yes for me. City of Ghosts by V.E. Schwab. This was a fun little YA novel. It was kind of like youth ghost whisperer, is how somebody described it once, and I agree with that, so it was fun. It was a yes. Then I read Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a yes. It is not the best in the series though, so if you didn't love this book, I say keep going. After People We Meet on Vacation, I was officially obsessed with Emily Henry, and I read Happy Place. This one is a hell yes for me. 5 stars. You need to read this book. Then I buddy read Verity by Colleen Hoover with one of my in real life best friends, and it is a yes. It was disgusting in some parts. I mean, just like abhorrent, but in a thriller kind of way, it was good. Then I read I Went to Vassar for This by Naomi Neal, and this is a maybe. It was like a quick little fluffy, silly romance, so maybe. Then I read an arc of Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. This one, I want to say maybe leaning towards yes. The ending definitely wants me reading book number 2, but I just didn't get into it super hard. So maybe. Then I read Saving Six by Chloe Walsh, book number 3 in the Boys of Tommen series, and also this one is a yes. Next was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series. This one I really enjoyed more than Caraval, so I'm gonna say yes. Then I read an arc of The Sword of Light by Heather Graham. This was a no for me. I finished it, but I had to really push myself. Next was an arc of Too Cursed to Kiss by J. Morgan White. This one, again, a little hard for me to get into in the beginning, but then I really liked it, so I'm gonna say yes. It had a very unique magic system. I then continued with my Emily Henry obsession and read Beach Read. This one was also a yes. I have yet to read an Emily Henry book that I do not recommend. Then I read Friends to Lovers by Sally Blakely. This was also an arc. This is a yes. At the very beginning for me, because I had just read People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place, it was giving those vibes very hard, but I loved it. It was very good. I buddy read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir with my friend Janelle. It's a sci-fi, but it's a yes, 5 stars. You have to read it. It is a little science heavy on the science fiction, but it is also very funny, and I love Rocky. Then I read an arc of Cowboy Casual by Holly Renee, which is a cowboy romance, different from her usual romantasy. And oh boy, this one's a yes. Hell yes, you need to read it. One of my favorite books of the entire year. Then I read The Awakening as Told by the Boys by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. This is, I want to say, book 1.5 in the Zodiac Academy series. It is, I say it is a yes, although you can get away with not reading it. I do like it. It gave a lot of backstory for the boys, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I had never read this. I'm gonna say yes. It was good. A little hard to understand because it's written in like old language. I think there's a better way to phrase that, but I don't feel like looking it up. So I did need to find out what happened at the end, and it was a good story, but kind of hard to read. So comprehension wise, I'm sure there's some stuff I didn't get because it was phrased in a way that I didn't understand. Then I read an arc of Secrets of the Catalog by Amelia Spencer. This is book number 1 in the Librarian series, and I'm gonna say yes. It was a little hard to get into for me, but I did enjoy it, and I have continued on with the series. Next, I read Dawn of the Firebird by Sarah Mughal Rana. Oh boy, that book took some turns that I was not expecting, and also some I was expecting, but that's okay. It was a little bit hard for me to get into at the beginning, but then once I was in, and I need book 2 already, so it is a yes for me. Then I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. It's a cute, fluffy, small town romance, so I'm gonna say yes. Then I read A Flaw in the Design by Nathan Oates. This was given to me by a friend, and it is a thriller. I'm gonna say maybe. It is a very unreliable narrator, so if you're okay with that, then yes. Then I read Foundation by Amelia Spencer, which is book number 2 in the Librarian series, and this one is also yes. Then I jumped back into the Caraval universe and finished it off with Finale by Stephanie Garber. This one is definitely a yes. I think it wrapped up the series so well. Then I was super late to the party, but I finally read Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This one is a yes. I am obsessed with Blackwell. You need to read it. Next, I read World War Z by Max Brooks. This was told in such an interesting way. I don't think I've ever read a novel quite like it, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna say yes. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one is a maybe for me. It was a quick, easy read. There were a lot of things that I really did like that I thought tied together really well, but the ending just kind of was really abrupt and I think could have been tied in better, but maybe. Then I read The Party by Robin Harding. This one is billed as a thriller. I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as a thriller. I didn't think it had very many thriller elements, but I did enjoy it. It was a good novel, so I'm gonna say yes. Then I read The Lethem Theory by Mel Robbins. This one is a maybe for me. I think at a different point in my life it would have been a yes for sure, but it is not exactly what I thought it was gonna be, so maybe. Then I did a reread of Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. It was even better the second time. I'm gonna say hell yes. Then I read book number 3 in the Librarian series, Dark Side of the Catalog. This is again by Amelia Spencer, and is also a yes. The ending, I am on book 4 now, and I need to know what happens. Next up, I read number 5 in the Zodiac Academy series, Cursed Fates by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. Yes, that ending. I wanted to throw my book so hard, and I just can't imagine having read this as they came out and having to wait for the next book. But if I didn't say it already, it is a hell yes. Then I read Fallen City by Adrienne Young. This is a yes. For sure. I really enjoyed it. I cried at the end. That's how you know it's a good book for me. If I cry, it's a yes, obviously. And my last book of 2025 was Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This was my first book by her. I'm gonna say yes, but on the more towards the maybe side. It was a bit predictable, but still fun. So if you want an easy, predictable read that has some good fun times, if you know what I mean, then you should read it. There you have it. That was all 59 books that I read in 2025. Let me know if there's any of these books you want a deeper dive on. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am committed to uploading more on YouTube. I kind of fell off last year, but we're gonna say now that one of my goals for this year is to post to YouTube more consistently. So hopefully you'll stick around, and I will see you in the next video.